Now, I'll be honest, I've been looking forward to this part. Here's where the movie absolutely shits the bed, and it's glorious. So Kong is airmailed to Antarctica. As ridiculous as this concept is, it is a reference to the original King Kong vs. Godzilla, so I gotta give it a pass. I even remember reading somewhere that Adam Wingard wanted to avoid doing this scene because of how silly it clearly is, but nevertheless, it wound up being thrown in as a means to an end. A lot of that going around. However, it does bother me in the sense that airlifting him was always an option, yet they still decided to tow him through alligator-infested waters first. Kinda feels like those thousands of sailors were sacrificed needlessly. I mean, sure, maybe the helicopters didn't have the fuel to get from Skull Island to the South Pole, even though this series has popped a middle finger to those kinds of logistical issues before. I mean, if Tywin's chopper could get from Antarctica to Boston, we know it's possible. Whatever happened to him, anyway? So they drop Kong down in the middle of what looks like Vorkuta prison. Now, something happens here, I'm not sure if it's a trick of the eye or continuity error, but the net on the ground looks smaller than the one he was carried in. And here's something else I noticed that I can't get out of my head. What is this? What is this blue shit on the top of the screen here? Is this like a stylistic effect or something, or is it a rendering issue? I don't know what that is. There's no blue light in the scene. This is so fucking bizarre. Anyway, we come to the scene where Kong realizes how this movie's shaping up and tries to back out of his contract. But the humans lie to him and tell him he has a 50 billion banana bonus waiting in that creepy ass tunnel. In all seriousness though, I find this exchange odd. Firstly, we referenced this moment earlier on the ship, when Dr. Lady asked Iceman what he would do if Kong didn't cooperate, and we leave the moment hanging, like something nefarious or a betrayal might take place on the clown's part. No such development materializes. Makes me wonder why it even matters. Also, we see Dr. Lady tell Gia what to say to Kong while he's standing right there watching. Then Gia relays him the same information he just witnessed being exchanged. So let me get this straight. Gia consigned to both Kong and Dr. Lady, but Dr. Lady and Kong can't communicate with each other. Does that mean that in addition to learning sign language, Gia also developed a second sign language that she only uses with Kong? Why? I can understand Kong playing dumb and eavesdropping with his knowledge of sign language, but it's crazy to me that there are two different types of sign language being used in this film. It just seems overly complicated. Regardless, Gia tells him his family's waiting for him down there. But no need to hurry, they ain't going anywhere. At least he still has his cousin Harambe. Aww. So Team Kong hops in their Hollow Earth anti-gravity vehicle, or HEAVE. I want to acknowledge that this is Iceman's first time seeing a HEAVE, yet he'll be flying one like an ace later. Alright, I just want to pause here a moment, because I want to re-clarify my position on Alexander Skarsgård after finally watching Generation Kill. Great show, and his performance as Brad Iceman Colbert is phenomenal. Being I wasn't familiar with Iceman's works before this film, having now seen what he's capable of as an actor, I find myself disappointed with how underutilized he is in this film. I remember reading that leading up to this project, he had played many serious characters and was looking to play a more lighthearted role. I guess the writers took it as he wanted to play a joke of a character. I'd have to imagine that originally, there was more for him to work with in the character of Nathan Lind. But then came the rewrites. That's when you start reading quotes between him and the directors such as, "Your character is still the way he is, except for all the reasons why he is." Whatever the fuck that means. It's no debate that this film isn't a prime example of his acting chops. I'm sure the same can be said of the rest of the cast as well. But here I am now, with an affinity for the Iceman, and I gotta watch him coast through the plot of this film with his thumb up his ass, being given nothing to contribute to the plot, even though he's top fucking billed. I'm saying all this now, because even though Iceman's character revolves around his relationship to the Hollow Earth, he will have absolutely nothing to do in the Hollow Earth scenes. Seriously, Iceman has been ostracized as a Hollow Earth kook. His brother died trying to enter it, and he's been relegated to a college basement. Now here he is, entering the wondrous and mysterious realm that has defined his life. This is his great moment of vindication, the big payoff for his character. And yet, for the next 35 minutes of the film, Iceman will only have 7 lines. To put that in perspective, Iceman only speaks 7 lines of dialogue between the Hollow Earth entry and Mechagodzilla's arrival. Less than 15 seconds of dialogue.
Hold Delta, reverse gravity propulsion. Hold Delta, prepare to attack.
We were right.
Come on, let's go. Ball ladies. Yeah.
Looks like round 2 goes to Kong.
What the hell is that?
That's pretty much the duration of a single comeback from Generation Kill.
Not everyone is lucky enough to have been raised in a Whiskey Tango trailer park by a bow-legged female whose sole qualification for motherhood is a womb that happened to catch the sperm of a passing truck driver.
At least my mom took me to NASCAR.
I mean, you gotta admit, it seems like a pretty good gig. Show up to the set, all you're told to do is just stare blankly. How about a little more character development and a little less secret facilities? What, the transcontinental mag rail wasn't enough? You hollowed out the South Pole too? Did you turn the moon into a Death Star as well? Oh shit, I shouldn't give him any ideas. Alright, this moment cracked me up when I first saw it. I was wondering how Kong would actually enter the hole, and I think they chose the best method. Clumsily fumbling into it. Oh, God. Well, what matters is he's in. And it's about time we saw this Hollow Earth that everyone keeps yammering about. Props are due. This sci-fi time tunnel scene is pretty cool. And I also needed something to wake me up. If I had to sit through one more bit of awkward humor or mindless exposition, I was gonna end this review with a fucking gunshot. Anyway, welcome to the center of the Earth. Up is down, down is up, and somehow there's sunlight. Okay. Also worth noting, everywhere they look, there's strips of blue power. I mean everywhere. If the goal of the mission was to find that power source, I'd pull over, anywhere and get a sample. But I guess they're waiting for a more dramatic place for that. For now, we'll just sit back and enjoy the ride. Uh-oh! A giant flying cobra thing! Good thing it destroyed the only ship not carrying any main characters. Do you think Kong even knows which ship Gia was on? It'd be pretty funny watching him panic, frantically grabbing the ships and checking to see if she's the one who got smoked. But whatever. We got us a fight going on that's a good bit of fun. And I'm glad to see Kong back in action. I'm beginning to remember, this is the same cold son of a bitch who soloed an entire helicopter squadron. Now that I think about it, that battle has to be my favorite sequence in the entire Monsterverse. It reminds me why I come to these movies. And you know what? I'm stoked for this fight too. Now, as a new addition, I find myself liking these creatures. The Woolbats. The snake-like body and wings look intimidating as all hell. That, and the fact that it combines those traits to perform a suffocation takedown, is both clever and realistic. The introduction of these lightly used but nonetheless threatening creatures reminds me that there's more to this world than a series of tubes. I'm hoping we see more like this on our journey through the Hollow Earth. Now, the fight's short, but it was nice to see Kong strut his stuff and administer a titanic beatdown. Admittedly, it got me a little excited for the movie again. Until... Why? Can we all agree this is the Monsterverse's equivalent of The Last Jedi's blue milk scene? I honestly don't know what the tone of this moment is. Is he asserting dominance? Is this a joke? Is he being a dumb animal? Whatever it is, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
Here, for the vomit.
What? That's gross.
At least I got this reaction face out of it. So we continue the journey to Mordor, and we quickly pass by Doug. Who's Doug? Well, according to a comment thread I came upon, This is Doug. Get it? And just like the Kevin meme, it goes fucking nowhere. While we're on the subject, enough with the shitty Godzilla memes. Fuck me if I have to read the word monkey one more time. I've seen jokes die fast, but that one was a fucking stillbirth. Except a stillbirth is funnier. Alright. I'm doing a lot of shit talk, so let me talk about a little moment I like. As Kong follows his instincts towards home, Dr. Lady says he certainly can move. It's a small reminder that Kong has spent years living as a prisoner and now he can finally run free. It's a small respite from all the other nonsense and a way to ground the moment. Ironically, this moment is immediately followed by Kong flying. Well, maybe flying is the wrong word. Floating? Levitating? Falling with style?
Buzz! We missed the truck! We're not aiming for the truck!
The point is, there's a giant monkey flying on screen, and my brain literally has no ability to rationalize what I'm seeing. And there's a giant hand? Is this fucking Fooly Cooly now? What the fuck? Who built that? The monkeys? Is that their monolith? Did they really spend so much time jumping between gravities that they were eventually like, fuck it, we should put up a sign? I mean, honestly. The blue milk wasn't enough? You had to recreate the Leia Mary Poppins moment too? Alright guys, if your movie has this much in common with The Last Jedi, something is going horribly wrong. So we finally find ourselves at Mount Doom. And it didn't take us no 3 movies to get there, neither. You're a hack token, lose the eagles, get the heaves. Now, stop me when this starts to sound ridiculous. So Kong approaches the mountain and finds a Kong-sized door. He pushes it open to reveal what can only be described as a Kong-sized throne room, complete with stairs, chairs, a statue, and conveniently enough, a Kong-sized axe on the floor. Remember when Thor had to use the power of a collapsing star to forge his great axe? Well, I guess finding it on the floor would have been just as good. I mean, it's not like introducing the idea of kaiju weapons into the Godzilla series for the first time in its 60-year run would be deserving of any kind of dramatic moment or significant origin. Nah, the most devastating weapon ever used against Mechagodzilla is just rolling around the junk drawer. Nothing special. Anyway, Kong takes the axe and settles himself down on the throne and basks in his own glory as the music dramatically rises. Now look, I understand his name is King Kong, but to take it literally to the point where the Kong species established a monarchy, developed masonry, and built themselves a throne room complete with statues of themselves is, gosh, how else can I say this? Laughable. Even in The Lion King, a cartoon movie for kids, where all the animals are singing, dancing, and fucking their sisters, Brody face, the movie never forgot they were animals with limitations. Mufasa didn't have a throne, he had the Pride Rock. It symbolized a throne, and that was enough. This throne concept is so ridiculous, I was honestly expecting Kong to reach under his chair and pull out a little monkey crown for himself. Oh, and I'm sure the fans would applaud all the same. So this is how quality dies, with thunderous applause. Gratefully, we cut away from this scene so I can catch my breath from my fit of laughter. But we also can finally get a scene of Godzilla attacking a city. Oh, thank God. I was starting to worry we would never see Godzilla just rampage through a city in this series. Granted, it's only 3 shots, but at least we can finally say it happened. Then it's right back to the bullshit. For some inexplicable reason, the axe begins to light up. Kong somehow understands this means the axe needs to be placed in a specific spot on the floor. With the axe inserted, the floor lights up in the shape of a Godzilla, no less, and we're told that means it's charging. Okay, stop everything. What the fuck is happening? Let's go over what we know. We were told that Godzilla's energy matches the blue power.
Blue power, motherfuckers!
And clearly this axe is made of a Godzilla dorsal fin. That much I can grasp. But why is there a Godzilla charging station in the middle of the Kong throne room? And why does the axe even need to be charged? Now, according to the plot, the axe needs to be charged in order to alert Godzilla on the surface. What is this power source to him? Does he ever drop by down here to top off? You know, maybe check in on things? I mean, it must have some value to him, considering its activation causes him to... burn a hole to the center of the Earth. I don't know how to make that sound more ridiculous than it already is. Godzilla burns a hole to the center of the Earth. And my brain explodes. So just for the sake of discussion, let's just talk about what that means. If Godzilla is capable of burning to the center of the Earth in a matter of minutes, without becoming fatigued, power scaling in this series is out the fucking window. My first thought was that if he could easily punch through the thickness of the Earth straight down with such insane accuracy, you would assume that he would also be able to shoot through it diagonally to hit targets hemispheres away. Just think about that. Why ever move if you can cover half the planet from wherever you're currently standing? In fact, by this logic, he could stand right on that charging station at the center of the Earth and hit any part of the planet with ease. Sure, it would rob him of the glory of beating down his enemy, because this Godzilla's all about his vanity in this film, but there's no denying the scene has just allowed that possibility. But let's be real. This is just fucking ridiculous, even within the confines of a giant monster film. Godzilla bored a hole into the center of the planet. Crust, mantle, inner core, outer core. How many thousands of miles of solid rock is that? Insanely enough, Simmons was expecting something like this to happen, adding to the confusion. Moreover, we don't even get a reason as to why Godzilla's doing this. We just know that this is happening so a route can be opened up between him and Kong and the final fight can happen. Just as soon as Kong climbs out of the center of the Earth, a distance of what? Which he somehow also accomplishes in a matter of minutes. I guess he didn't have to go through that same portal on the way up? Also, fuck this moment where the two of them are roaring at each other through the tunnel. Considering it takes time for sound to travel, it would have been minutes before they actually heard each other. But, as always, I'm getting ahead of myself. And in case anyone's screaming at their screen that the throne room isn't at the center of the planet, suggesting it just happened to be under Mechagodzilla's location is of such astronomical convenience that it's not even worth debating. Now, ladies and gents, we have to talk about the big betrayal, where Apex does exactly what they said they'd do by gathering the blue power.
Blue power, motherfuckers!
I guess Dr. Lady wasn't really listening when they asked to borrow her monkey, because she immediately begins to nag Maya about it.
Bitch, please!
In turn, Maya ups the ante on the stupid and orders her men to pull their guns on Team Kong, including the little girl, whom the giant monster in the room values more than anything else. He came here looking for his family and they're all gone. The only person he has is that child, and you're threatening her for no reason. When did this woman become suicidal? What is to be gained from pulling your guns now? No one was attempting to stop her. Dr. Lady's just pitching a fit. But I guess a rational conversation isn't as fun as marking yourself for death by ape. She even needlessly shoots the fucker. I mean, honestly, what did you think was gonna happen? Seems like a waste of a character, right? I mean, her character arc was a flatline into a faceplant.
Feel free to be impressed.
Could you have at least had her do something like a sexy vampire dance just so this movie has some rewatch value? I hate to see such a waste of talent. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. How does this sample extraction power Mechagodzilla? I have no explanation for this. Apex sends out a little spider bot, it sticks a thing in the blue power, and apparently those readings begin to charge Mechagodzilla? What? How the fuck are you downloading gasoline? And what information are you gathering on this energy source that you didn't have already? You scanned it, didn't you? And if that's all you needed to do, why didn't you pump 1,000 of those spider bots down the hole and have them do this remotely? We live in the drone age and you're a billionaire. On top of that, if this energy and Godzilla's energy are the same, couldn't you have gotten the same information by sticking a drone to him? I doubt he'd even notice. would have saved you a fleet and a shit ton of time. Now, there's something we absolutely need to address. Remember Iceman? Well, the scene doesn't. Where is he when all this drama's going down? Wouldn't this be a great time to speak up and try to defuse this nonsensical situation? Nah, Iceman's just chillin'. I guess he's finally learned not to pet a burning dog. My head literally hurts trying to describe all that's wrong with this scene. I'm pretty sure the movie accounted for this mental short circuit, so they start spamming Larry David looking bat monsters to distract us from thinking this shit through. But then they hit us with another what the fuck. Ren Serizawa starts doubting the plan now. After all this plotting, assembling, and an expedition to the center of the Earth, once everything has finally come together, and all they need to do is hit the on switch, now he starts to share his moral qualms with what they're doing? It is way too late for you to start having a character now, bud. And apparently he's not the only one to grow a conscience. There's another moment in this scene that strikes me as incredibly odd. So Godzilla's beam is shaking the throne room, and the Larry Davids swoop in. Maya sees the data transfer is complete and orders Apex to withdraw. However, one of these soldiers does something very interesting, and I think it's worth talking about. So after pulling their guns on an unarmed group, including a deaf child, in an act of needless treachery, one grunt decides to try to help them escape. 30 seconds earlier, this guy had his rifle at a little girl's temple. Now he's escorting her to safety. Unfortunately, he dies before they can escape, but could you imagine that ride up? Him sitting in back next to the kid he was about to shoot. You're welcome, little missy. Dude went from Barnes to Elias in a flash. It doesn't make any logical sense for him to do this. I guess he just snapped out of his programming in his last moments and decided to listen to his heart? Mark it down, folks. A stormtrooper growing a conscience. Our third Disney Star Wars reference. Anyway, just as Larry David goes to attack Gia, specifically for some reason, Godzilla's beam pierces the room, which somehow kills the creature, even though it's farther away from the explosion than the humans, and somehow they're fine. Though being that close to the beam probably gave them cancer. Wait. Shouldn't they be wearing helmets down here for exactly that reason? God, I wish Alien Covenant wasn't the trendsetter it was. Defying logic and source material is par for the course these days. But I guess that's Hollywood. Now, I've been bashing this movie a lot, but maybe you can see why. The plot's basically a house of cards that crumbles whenever you examine it piece by piece. Some people either won't acknowledge these faults or don't care. They enjoy the movie for what it is. I doubt those people and myself will ever see eye to eye on scenes like this. However, I know there's one thing we can all get behind, and that's the big final battle. It's finally time for the title fight, and I can't fucking wait. Let's hope it's everything it's cracked up to be. Until next time.